So the fundamental reason to not lie is because you corrupt your own perceptions if you lie. And when you corrupt your own perceptions, then you can't rely on yourself. And if you can't rely on yourself, then, well, good luck to you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I always try to live in truth and try to follow truth. You can lie and lie so much and lie so good that you start to believe your own lie. You know what I'm saying? You telling somebody this and it's not true, and you start to live this not true life. Like I'm with truth above all. Like I'm with truth always. Like don't spare my feelings. Don't come around me having no kind of ulterior motives. Like if I catch you in a lie around me, or if I find out that you lied to me, like I don't look at you the same ever again. Like if you lied, like if you looked at me in my face and I lied, like I don't look at you the same ever again. Never. I never can. Cause that's in you. That was in you. Like if I didn't keep asking questions and dive deeper, like you would have let that lie ride. Like you don't have my best interest at heart. You're not who I need to be around at all. What it do, man? It's your boy 100 and we back in this. Hey, we back in this, man, and we got Jordan Peterson, bro. He explains 12 rules for life in 12 minutes. I just did a video on Most Def Yassine Bey, giving some, you know what I'm saying, tips about whatever, what have you. You feel me? So I done doubled up with the Jordan Peterson, because I'm reacting to things, but we here to learn stuff too, though. We here to learn. We here to, you know what I'm saying? We learning, we growing, we elevating. You feel me? We high vibrations, you know what I'm saying? High vibrational, you know what I'm talking about? So let's tap in and see what he got to say to us, man. Real soothing sounds
Rule
out the gate.
1 is stand up straight with your shoulders back. And rule 2 is treat yourself like you're someone responsible for helping. And number 3, which is very tightly associated with number 2, they're sort of variations on a theme, is make friends with those people who want the best for you. By the way, these last 2 rules aren't injunctions designed to make your life easier. They're actually injunctions designed to make your life more difficult. Kierkegaard said at one point that his role in life, given that everything was proceeding to become easier and easier in all possible ways, that there would come a time when people would cry out for difficulty. And so that's partly how he envisioned his role in the world. Interestingly enough, as a universal...
I'm gonna say, bro, we as humans, bro, like we thrive better in some kind of adversity, some kind of struggle, some kind of mission, some kind of something. When we're comfortable and everything is comfortable and everything is lovely, we die. We get sick and we die because our body is just too comfy. You're not moving your body break down. You're not moving and activating your heart to move your blood around. You die. Like you just sitting around eating, watching TV. You just comfy bed, comfy couch in the house. You're gonna die. You got to get up. You got to walk. You got to be in the cold. You got to be in the heat. You got to be breathing hard. You got to move your body, man. They say comfort is a major killer.
Benefactor of mankind who would strive to do nothing other than to make life more difficult for everyone. Right. And so rule 2 and 3 are like that, because treat yourself as if you're someone responsible for helping isn't the same as be nice to yourself. It's not that. And to associate with people who want the best for you means that they get to demand the best from you. And that's also not an easy thing. Rule 4 is compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not to who someone else is today. And that's an injunction about envy. You need things that are above you because you need to do something worthwhile with your life. You need something to aim at. But one of the consequences of that is that you can become envious of people that you believe have attained more in a deserved or undeserved manner, and that can make you bitter.
I don't know what is in me. I don't know if I've been here before. I don't know if I walked this path before and I learned a bunch of things in my many lives or something. I don't know. But I always knew that I shouldn't compare myself to other people. I look at other people and see that they're thriving and they up and they got this and they got that and I don't have it. And, you know, as a child, you might feel like, man, why they got this and I don't? Why they living like this and I'm not? Why they got this? Why they got that? But then you gotta look at yourself and look at what you do have. I'm like, okay, but I do have this. And there are some people that don't have this. So that's what always grounded me. I looked at what I had and I was like, okay, I got this in my life. I got that in my life. They have this, I don't have that. I can't be upset that they have that. I can't be upset that their parents set them up in the position that I wanted, that I wish I was in, or that I think is better than mine. Because on the outside looking in, everything can look better than your situation till you get off in there and you're like, oh, it's trash in here for real. I thought it was fine, but it's really trash in here. You don't know. You really don't know.
And so it's much better to compare yourself to yourself,
right,
and to use yourself as the target for improvement and comparison.
And get better
Rule
today.
5 is don't let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. And the rule of thumb there is if you dislike them, then other people will. And it's a bad idea to allow your children to act in a way that makes other children dislike them or adults dislike them, given that they're going to have to deal with children and they're going to have to deal with adults.
There's been some people in my life, man, where I tried to like insert some like words like, hey, like that's not cool that they do that, or that's not what's up. Like people don't like that. That's not cool. That's rude. That's not courteous. That's not. And they hit me with the, oh, they're just kids. He's just a kid. She's just a kid. But it's like, man, what? That is a little person. Like that personality trait, if you just keep letting that happen, they're gonna become an adult and people are gonna dislike them. Like I never use they're just a kid excuse. Cause an adult is just a kid that didn't die. Like I don't feel that different than I did when I was a kid. I don't feel that different. I've learned more experience. My mind is more open, but like I don't feel different like personality wise. You know what I'm saying? So if your kid is doing something as a child, like when they grow up, they gonna be doing the same thing. They're not gonna change that much. Your job as a parent is to curb bad behavior. Stop that bad behavior. So when they become an adult, it's already embedded in them. They don't have to beat it out of themselves because you already took care of it. You nipped it in the bud before it could even grow.
So your primary responsibility as a parent is to help your child learn how to behave so that the social world opens up its arms to them and welcomes them at every level. And you've done your job if you can manage that. And it's not a simple thing to do. Rule 6 is put your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. And that's not take no action for others until you have your act together. That isn't what the rule means. It means that bind your ambition with humility and work on what's right in front of you that you will suffer for if you get wrong before you engage in the large-scale transformation of other people. Rule 7 is do what is meaningful and not what is expedient. And I would say in some sense that's the core ethos of the book. Not exactly, because Rule 8, which is tell the truth or at least don't lie, is a necessary conjunction to that, or a necessary additional element, because I don't think that you can pursue what is meaningful without telling the truth. And the reason for that is if you don't tell the truth, or let's say if you lie, which is an easier way to think about it, you corrupt the mechanisms, the instinctual mechanisms that manifest themselves as meaning, and then you can't trust them. And that's a very bad idea. So the fundamental reason to not lie is because you corrupt your own perceptions if you lie. And when you corrupt your own perceptions, then you can't rely on yourself. And if you can't rely on yourself, then, well, good luck to you.
Yeah, man. I always try to live in truth and try to follow truth. You can lie and lie so much and lie so good that you start to believe your own lie. You know what I'm saying? You telling somebody this and it's not true, and you start to live this not true life. Like I'm with truth above all. Like I'm with truth always. Like don't spare my feelings. Don't come around me having no kind of ulterior motives. Like if I catch you in a lie around me, or if I find out that you lied to me, like I don't look at you the same ever again. Like if you lied, like if you looked at me in my face and I lied, like I don't look at you the same ever again. Never. I never can. Because that's in you. That was in you. Like if I didn't keep asking questions and dive deeper, like you would have let that lie ride. Like you don't have my best interest at heart. You're not who I need to be around at all. And I hold myself to that same standard. Like who would I be if I'm sitting around lying to people? What is that? That's cowardice.
Because what are you going to rely on in the absence of your own judgment? You've got nothing if you lose that. Rule 8 is, as I said, tell the truth or at least don't lie. Rule 9, assume that the person that you're listening to knows something you don't. And that's not so much a mark of respect for the person, although it is that. It's a mark of recognition of your own unbearable ignorance. One of the things you have to do in life You have to decide what's more important, what you know or what you don't know. First of all, there's a lot of what you don't know. And so if you make friends with that, if you decide that's important, then, well, that's a good thing, because you're going to be surrounded by what you don't know your entire life. And so if you're appreciative of that, then that's going to make things go better for you. But the other element of that is, well, why should you be appreciative of what you don't know? And the answer to that is, well, you shouldn't. If your life is absolutely perfect in every way, you have exactly what you need and want, you've put everything in order around you, then what you know is sufficient. But if you believe that things could still be put right around you in your own personal life, and with regard to the effect that you have on other people, then obviously what you don't yet know is more important than what you do know, and you should be paying attention to find out what you don't know at every possible moment. And if you're fortunate, when you have a conversation with someone and you're actually interested in what they say, then even if they're not very good at communicating, even if they're awkward, or even if they display a certain amount of enmity towards you, there's always the possibility that they might tell you something you don't know, in which case you can walk away from the conversation less ignorant and corrupt than you were when you started the conversation. And if your life isn't everything that you would like it to be, then being slightly less ignorant and corrupt is probably a good thing. And so, Rule 10.
I want y'all to go back and listen to that again. Like that was like multi-layered. It's like if your life is what you want it to be, then you don't need to worry about the unknown. Like you got what you want right in your face. But if your life is not what you want it to be, then you need to go out here and seek the unknown to improve the situation, because what you know clearly is not working.
Is be precise in your speech. And that's an observation, I would say, that's a variant of a New Testament injunction, which is, or maybe a description of the nature of the world, which is, knock and the door will open, and ask and you will receive, which is a very strange theory, let's say, but which I would say is far more in accordance with what we know about the psychology of perception, let's say, than you might imagine, because it is the case that you don't get what you don't aim at. You might get what you do aim at, and your aim might get better as you aim as well, which is something to consider. If you specify the nature of the being that you want to bring into being, then you radically increase the probability that that's what will occur. And of course, you all know that because you regard yourself.
Can we talk about how fire this house looks, bro? House, castle, whatever this is, this looks amazing, bro. I love to stay there, dog. I look at my windows, I don't see nobody. Bro, I want isolation, bro. I don't want to see nobody, bro. Get away from around me. But to his point, that's why a lot of people say, like, write down your goals and look at your goals all the time. Like in the book Think and Grow Rich, like they talk about you writing down your goal and you saying it like 3 or 4 times a day, like so it can be embedded into your subconscious. Like you need to like be focused on a goal, like concrete goal, like legitimately, like not an idea, like a real deal goal. You need to like sink it into your brain until it's what you think about constantly, so you can move towards that. Every action you take is moving towards this goal. You need a goal. You need to see your goal and believe your goal is possible.
You regard yourself, at least to some degree, as active creative agents, right? Your fundamental attitude towards yourself, at least in the manner that you act towards yourself, is that you wake up in the morning and you have a landscape of possibilities that lay themselves open to you, and you make choices between those possibilities and determine in consequence how the world is going to manifest itself. So you confront a field of potential. That's a good way of thinking about it. And through your choices, you determine which elements of that potential are going to concretize themselves into the real world. And you are very unhappy with yourself if you don't do that properly, and you're very unhappy with other people if they don't do that properly, and you're very unhappy with other people if they don't treat you like that's what you're like. Because part of what you demand from people, let's say, in terms of sheer civility, is that they act towards you as if you're the locus of voluntary choice in a world of potential. And you upbraid each other for that as well. If you have children and parents, your parents will say to you, if you're fortunate, you're not living up to your potential. which is actually a compliment in a sense, even though it's also a judgment. And the compliment is, I know perfectly well that you could be more than you are. And you'll hang your head if you have any sense, and you'll think, like you think in relationship to your own conscience, that yes, I have a lot of potential that I'm not fully realizing, and that actually constitutes a transgression against the good.
People see in you the tools and your ability that you just might not see in yourself sometimes. Sometimes you might just doubt yourself. And people look at you like, man, you can just see it, man. You just see all the people like that are like extremely talented or very smart or very charismatic. It's like you have all these tools to like go be something, be successful, like to do something. And you're not doing nothing with it. You're not doing nothing with your God-given talents, your God-given abilities, your God-given competency. You're not doing anything with it. So yeah, I would take that as like a compliment and somebody trying to motivate you. Like, hey, you could be so much more than what you are right now. You just gotta light that fire within yourself.
And I don't think I've ever met anyone who doesn't believe that. If you have a reasonable conversation with them, it just seems self-evident. I mean, maybe now and then you meet someone who's narcissistically self-satisfied, but then they're narcissistic, and that's not good. That as a medium to long-term strategy, that's a catastrophe. That ends in disaster. You know, it's a short-term, it protects people, but long-term, it's not good in the least. And of course, other people don't appreciate it as well. Rule 11 is don't bother children when they're skateboarding. And that's actually a discussion of courage, of encouragement more specifically, because I've been trying to understand, for example, what role parents play in the lives of their children. And I would say this is a role that is of fundamental importance, as well as attempting to guide your children so that they act in a socially desirable manner so that the world opens itself up to them. You also want to encourage them, which is not the same as sheltering them. It's not the same at all. And to encourage someone is to say something like, or to act out something like, look, kid, the world's already difficult, because the world isn't easy for children any more than it's easy for adults. The difficulties they're not the same. They're child-sized difficulties, but they're still difficulties. The world is a very hard place. And
I would say every person that I've seen say like, oh yeah, I was too sheltered, or my parents sheltered me too much. My parents tried to coddle me too much. Like, I don't think it's like nobody, it's like it doesn't ever pay off. There's no payoff for it. Like, you just are creating a adult that's ill prepared to go out here in the world by himself or herself. You've handicapped a person, basically. Like, they don't have the tools to survive, really. They usually can survive through like trial and error and bumping their heads up against the wall until they figure out, okay, I gotta do it this way. You know what I'm saying? Which is, it's a way of learning, but it's like you could have learned a lot of these things as a child if you weren't so sheltered. Your development is behind.
It's a bitter place in many ways, and it's not only a hard and bitter place, it's also touched with betrayal and malevolence, and that's the fundamental bottom line. But there's something in you that is capable of taking that full on and transcending it, and that's encouragement. You say, well, as difficult as things are, you're up to the challenge. And to interfere with children when they're skateboarding, for example, when they're doing, let's say, inadvisably dangerous things, which kids, of course, do if they're skateboarding, to interfere with that is to interfere with the child's willingness to voluntarily expose themselves to the risks that they need to expose themselves to in order to develop the sort of competence that allows them to thrive in a world they cannot be sheltered from. And so to interfere with children when they're taking necessary risks is not love or empathy, but cowardice on the part of parents. And it's deeply damaging to children. And I can tell you, as a clinical psychologist, I've never had a client come to my office. In all the hundreds of encounters I've had with people in my office, I've never had a client say, my parents made me too independent. That hasn't happened once. Right now, my parents made me too dependent, or I conspired with my parents to perpetuate my dependence. That happened all the time. So there's a rule of thumb, which I think is a good one, which I believe is often applied in nursing homes by people who work in nursing homes, which is, of course, a very difficult job. And the rule is, do not do anything for anyone they can do for themselves.
Say that. Like with kids, man, I'm trying to teach kids how to do things immediately. Like as soon as you can, it seems like your body is ready to do it. Let's do it. Do it yourself. Don't ask me to do it. Do it yourself. You can walk and talk. You strong enough to open up a fridge. You tall enough to make your own sandwiches. You tall enough to use the microwave. You tall enough to cook on the stove. I shouldn't be cooking for you. I can cook for you, but if you're hungry, you should have the tools to be able to feed yourself. If you're capable, you should be able to wash your own clothes. You should be able to handle your own business. You know what I'm saying? I'm about pushing that independence. I think I've always been an independent person. Like I always was like, nah, I can do it. Nah, I can do it. No, I can do it. I can do it. Nah, no thank you. I can do it. I can do it.
Rule 12 is pet a cat when you encounter one on the street. And it's oddly enough, a meditation on fragility. It's a discussion of what you do when you don't know what to do. And that's really when things have gone badly for you, when you face a terrible tragedy in your own personal life or in your familial life, or perhaps even in the life of your community, when things come crowding in at you too quickly. In the case of a death in the family, or a terrible illness, or the collapse of a dream, or any of the things that can flip your world upside down, is how do you cope with that? And that chapter contains discussion of the necessity of narrowing your time frame, because sometimes the right way to look at the world is across years, and sometimes it's across months, and when things are more out of control, perhaps it's across days, and when you're really up against the wall, it's across hours or even minutes. And during those minutes, then you concentrate on doing as well as you can with what's right in front of you for the longest unit of time that you can tolerate conceptualizing. Maybe that's what you do at someone's deathbed. And while you're doing that and suffering away madly, then you also take the time to appreciate everything you can that manifests itself, that allows itself to be appreciated. And so that's the metaphor of the cat, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel all that. And to that last point, it seems like, just sometimes you got to just sit and just think inwardly. Well, not even inwardly, just think about humanity and think about the human experience, and really just like look at yourself in the scope of the world, and appreciate life, and appreciate small things, and appreciate everything, and appreciate the moment you're in, and don't be so focused on the past or the future. Sit in this moment, think in this moment, be in this moment, because you're not living your past and you're not living your future. Right now, all you can live is right now. You can't live your past or your future right now. You can only live right now. So why stress about the past or stress about the future? There's no point. You're not living it. And also just looking at like the fragility of life. Like life is fleeting, like death is certain. So you got to cherish your moments and cherish your people, and don't sabotage your life because someone else's life ended. It's natural to grieve, but that person had their life, they had their experience, and you got to focus on yours. You got to believe that you're more than just this. This ain't the end. You got to believe that you're more than just this. You're more than just this human experience. You are more than just this. But anyway, man, we ain't finna we ain't finna dive that deep. We ain't finna, you know what I'm saying? We ain't finna go that deep, man. Just leave a comment below, man. Let me know how you feel about this. Did you gain anything from this video? Did you learn anything? Did you get like a new perspective on life? Is anything new? Do you have anything to add to the conversation? You know what I'm saying? You can you can leave that in the comment below. You know what I'm saying? If you want to add on something. You know what I'm saying? You got a testimony, you know what I'm saying? Drop it below. Let me know. I'll respond. I like things like this though. Like, but yeah, man, I like reacting to things like this. You know what I'm saying? I like, getting your brain going, having you think, having you reflect, having you, take a moment to appreciate life, appreciate your life, be thankful for your life, be thankful for your existence. See the world from a different, perspective. No matter how messed up you feel like your situation is, it's like, man, treat yourself better, man. Treat yourself better. If the world doing you wrong, don't do yourself worse. Like, treat yourself good, treat yourself better. You're alive. Your situation can always change. Every situation is temporary. It's temporary. It's not forever. But yeah, man, as always, man, you know what I'm saying? Clothes in the description. Clothes for sale. You feel me? Socials in the description. Appreciate all the love. You know what I'm saying? Next subscription goal is 2,000. So if you see me not at 2,000, help your mans out. You know what I'm saying? And like I said again, appreciate the love, and I'll see y'all in the next one.